like 14. It's 14 an hour.
$14 an hour. You can make about that much working at McDonald's. So I don't think that's quite right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Trucker 219. In this video, we're back at it with part 2 on the deep dive on night transportation. We'll be calling Knight's recruiting department to find out what they have to say for the company, and we'll also be picking apart anything that might be dishonest about what they have to say. So without further ado, let's go.
Please leave a detailed message, including your first and last name and the best number so we can return your call. We will get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you and have a good day.
I've made 3 attempts now to get a hold of Night Transportation's recruiting department to ask them some questions about their company, what they're offering, you know, as far as like their pay and whatnot. And it's kind of crazy that all 3 times I've gotten the voicemail. I can't believe that a company that big doesn't have people ready to answer the phones for new drivers coming on board. In my opinion, as a company in general, if you don't have somebody to answer the phone, it turns me off from your company to start with. I shouldn't have to chase down somebody to get some information about a company, especially to go and work for. So as far as the phone system works for Night Transportation, it's a big fat 0. A goose egg for them. I can't get in contact with them. How am I supposed to go to work for them?
Monitored and recorded for quality and training purposes.
Night Transportation, you reached your recruiting department. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I was calling to get some more information about a position that I found on your guys' website.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, what position was that?
I'm looking at a regional truck driver out of Kansas City, Kansas.
Certainly, yeah. Yeah, Kansas City is a great terminal. So, you live close to there, or where are you located?
Yeah, I live over on the opposite side of Kansas City into not Missouri, in Kansas.
Okay.
Oh no, it's showing in Kansas. Okay.
How much driving experience do you have?
I have the 6 months experience it's showing on here.
Okay. And who are you driving with now?
I am currently out of a job.
Okay.
So I was just calling around to a bunch of different places. I actually went through Warner's training program, and then they kind of let me go right after I was done with training for some stuff. So.
Okay. So your 6 months was with them, or did you go somewhere else after?
No, it was all through Warner.
Okay, gotcha. And how long ago did you leave?
It was just this week. This past week.
Yeah, I mean, so it will just depend how they verify that. But if it's not a policy violation or safety, anything like that, then we should be okay. If you got the full 6 months, then you'd qualify as experienced. If they cut you a little short on that time, you might have to do some modified training.
So what would that modified training look like with you guys?
Typically, if we verify somewhere between just shy of 6 months, and we're just looking at usually like 2 weeks out with the co-driver. That's typically what that looks like. Okay, so for regional though, out of Kansas City, let's see. Which one were you looking at? Were you looking at the one that's like 6 out, 2 home, or did it say what those days look like?
Yeah, it's showing 5 days out, 2 days home.
Okay. Yep, we can do that. They're averaging about 2,200 miles a week on that one.
You said 2,200?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not dedicated, so it's just general dry van freight. So they're just trying to keep you in a small region around there where they can get you home after 5 days out.
Okay, and then just real quick, what is your guys' training like? Because I know over there with Warner it was a little bit wonky. What do you guys do for like training? Do you guys offer like CDL school or anything like that?
So you wouldn't have to go through a CDL school or anything, right?
Yeah, I've already got it. I was just curious because I got a buddy that I was talking about maybe teaming with him at some time, so I was wanting to find out like what it would be for him to get in, and so I'm trying to get some information for him too. And
Knight has a CDL school in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
If somebody's trying to go do that, I don't know the details. I know that he'd have to provide his own transportation down there. They can include hotel in the tuition amount. Basically just be paying that back over time. I don't know, all the details on the payments and things and how that works. I think they work it out from what I've heard to where, like, he only has to do like a small down payment, and then as long as he's with the company, I think we basically equal out or balance out payments. So it's like we give a reimbursement each week when he's due for payment. So it kind of comes out as I don't know if it's exactly zero or close to it or something like that. But so as long as he's with Knight, basically he's getting all the money back. I don't know the details on that, and then I know a lot of my drivers will just find like schools in the area so they don't have to travel, and we do a tuition reimbursement plan. So most of the guys that I hire that are new, they're going to a school close to home. Just as long as it's an accredited school that does at least 80 hours of instruction, then we'll be able to use that and then put them in with a trainer for between 4 to 6 weeks of training after they graduate. So.
And then you don't have any of the details on the tuition reimbursement and how that works out?
Yeah, the tuition reimbursement, I know. If he goes to a school, then there's also something you could look at is I've heard a lot of drivers will get help through different programs, grants and things where they don't even have to pay for the CDL school out of pocket. So that's always nice. But if they do end up having to pay for it and they're like on a payment plan, they just send us, once they're hired, they send us the receipt that shows the total tuition amount. And Knight will pay them an extra $35 a week. It's about $140 a month, right? To help them make those payments back to the school. So we pay it directly to the driver, not to the school. So the driver will still be making those payments, but we can, we're just kind of helping them out. And we don't have like a contract on that tuition reimbursement or anything. It's, as long as they're with Knight, we'll keep making those payments. If they leave before the total's paid back, then we just stop paying it. But they don't owe us anything back, So,
but there is a contract if you guys, if he were to go through truck driving school, like your guys' school in Phoenix.
I believe so. Yes. Now we also do have a training agreement that is for anyone coming through training, and that would apply if you if you end up needing like a refresher training. So it's just for both of you potentially. Hopefully not for you if we can verify the full 6 months, but for him definitely just to know that if anyone that's going to train with Knight, there's a form that you'd have to sign. You basically just agreeing that you're going to stay with the company for 4 months after training or 30,000 solo miles. If you were to leave before that time frame, you just owe some training payback, which is just $2,000. You owe the company back.
Really?
We do pay while you're being trained. You pay while you're being trained at $650 a week. And then obviously we're paying the trainer and just through the hiring process and everything like that.
Okay, so a new driver would be responsible for paying for the training?
If they left before the 4 months was up after training. So just $2,000 that's not the full. The training cost is a lot more than that. It's just more of a deterrent, really, for people getting the training and then going to a company. What we were seeing, unfortunately, is drivers doing training and then going somewhere that didn't have trainers. They were just telling them, "Hey, go get training somewhere, and then we'll take you on." So it's just trying to deter that type of behavior. But yeah, you get paid. He would get paid while he's in training, $650 a week while he's with the trainer. The training agreement is just basically it's a contract that you'll stay with the company for 4 months, right?
Right.
So the only time you'd owe any money is if you left before fulfilling that contract. And once he finishes the training, he's going to go solo and start earning. Most of my new drivers are going to be somewhere between around $1,100 a week before taxes. It's kind of typical. New drivers after training, they're going to make them do like more over the road.
Do you know what the cents per mile is, like the difference between the 6 month and somebody that's coming out of training, or is it the same?
Yeah, it's a couple cents different. So if we can verify your full 6 months, you would be at starting between 47 to 54 cents So 47 cents would be the base rate for long hauls. Um, Mid-length loads would pay 51 cents per mile. That's any loads between 200 to 300 miles. And the short hauls pay 54.
Okay, so that cents per mile is based off the distance of the trip itself.
Yep, distance of the trip. Yeah. And then brand new driver just out of training would just be a little bit lower. It'd be 45 cents for the base rate to 53 cents. So
45 to 53 cents, same thing, same deal with the distance of the trip.
Yep.
Okay. Is it about the same range for about a year? Somebody with a year experience?
Yeah, if you can get to a year experience, are you saying like you're gonna wait to join us until you get a year, or
no? I would come on board with you guys and do just spend some time with you guys to see if it's, you know, because a lot of people will sit and say stuff that it's not accurate as far as recruiters go. I'm not saying that you are or anything, but once you're in it, you know more.
No, for sure, that's accurate. So, so once you're hired, then we do pay raises every 100,000 miles. So it's just set into the system. So some drivers can get there in 8 to 10 months. You know, sometimes it's 12 months to get there. It just depends how many miles you're running. But yeah, it'll be an automatic 1 cent pay raise every 100,000 miles. So
okay, and then is there any like other pay, like layover or detention or unload pay or anything like that on top of the mileage?
Yeah, they do have detention or layover pay. So if you, dry vans mostly drop and hook, but there are going to be some live unloads. And so if you're more than 2 hours, then they will pay you. It's not a lot, like $14 an hour.
$14 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. You said most is drop and hook, though.
Yeah, dry vans mostly drop and hook.
Is there a payment for doing it like per each drop and hook, or is it just straight miles?
Yeah, just straight miles on that. Yeah.
Okay. How long did you say the training was? 4 to 6 weeks.
So, yeah, between 4 to 6, just depending on the trainer and how much time they feel like they need. Usually, it's going to be about 2 weeks out at a time, and then get a break, back at home.
Solely based off of the trainer and filling it out. It's not like a mileage or time-based thing.
It is, the 4 weeks is the minimum. So, but yeah, 4 weeks. But like after that, it's just based on between the trainee and the trainer deciding is he ready to test out, does he want to focus or work on some other things.
I do have one other question. It's kind of an odd one. Do you have like any drivers that I could call and talk to and get their firsthand experience? Like I said, I'm coming off of Warner where, I was kind of fibbed to about pay and stuff. I'm very skeptical about moving forward, especially with any other big carriers and stuff. Do you guys have like a set of drivers that will be happy to take a call and find out what their experience is?
Yeah, let me check with some of my guys and see.
All right, man. I appreciate your time. Thanks for volleying all my questions here. I know I got a lot.
Sure. No worries there. All right, man. Yeah, we'll be in touch then.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, well, that was a bit of a weird one. Just because it has 6 months of experience on that specific route, I wanted to make sure that he knew that I had 6 months of experience. I apologize for lying. I feel terrible. I hate doing that. But sometimes in order to get the information that you need, you got to play the game. It was a good chat with him, and I'm glad that I was able to finally get in contact with somebody. I made 3 attempts prior to that just to get a hold of somebody with no luck. Luckily, I was able to go online and find the specific job that it was looking for, look up an area code for that specific job, and call into that area code, and I was able to get to somebody. Based off of that call, we got a lot of math and stuff to go over and figure out what's the truth behind what was told to me. This is something that you should always do with any other company. I did make a video about the different things that you should ask a driver recruiter. Same thing we just went over with that. I'll leave a link up above so you guys can check that out. So number one, the $35 a week in tuition reimbursement, that's really not a ton, and it is coming back to the driver. I have had an experience personally with a company that I worked for where it really wasn't a tuition reimbursement like that. They added 1 or 2 cents per mile to your paycheck, but everybody all got the same amount. So it's kind of sketchy on that. So I'm quite hesitant about a tuition reimbursement situation. Let's go ahead and take a look at it here. The school that I went to back, almost 9 years ago now, it cost me $6,000 to go through school. So at $35 a week, let's figure out how much that is going to take to pay off. So 6,000 divided by $35 per week. It's going to take you 171 weeks in order to pay that back, if they are being honest and saying that you are getting $35 a week. So there's 52 weeks in a year. Let's go ahead and divide that by 52 weeks. So it's going to take you 3.29 years in order to pay this student loan off based off of their tuition reimbursement. So if your goal is to go to a company for their tuition reimbursement, you cannot solely rely on the tuition reimbursement. They're not going to pay back the full thing. Even though they're going to advertise that it is paying off your full thing, it's going to take you over 3 years to pay that back. So that's not a good game plan. It will help you for sure. Work on paying that off. This way, you don't have to worry about that and have that around your neck. Okay, so he was saying that the cents per mile was based off of how long the trip is, meaning if it's a longer trip, you get less cents per mile. If it's a shorter trip, you get more cents per mile. So what this does is it keeps people from only wanting to do the long haul stuff and turning away the short haul stuff. I don't think this is a terrible idea. However, it's going to balance out no matter what. So if you do a short one, it's not a big deal. If you do a longer one, you're still making more miles. But you're making less cents per mile, so it probably balances it out to where you're making about the same no matter what you're doing, which I think it's okay. I don't have an issue with that at all. Okay, so the detention pay that they're saying after 2 hours is at $14 per hour. That is quite low. Normally, the average is about $20 to $25 an hour after that 2 hours. At $14 an hour, they're not going to care if you go over by 2, 3, 4 hours over that original 2 hours. It's not really much of a deterrent for the customer to get you out of there. $14 an hour, you can make about that much working at McDonald's. So I don't think that's quite right. You should probably be making a little bit more than $14 an hour for your detention pay. And remember, you got the first 2 hours for free. So anything you make, divide it by the total number of hours that you have sat there. So for $14 an hour divided by 3 hours is... So basically you've made less than minimum wage for sitting there for 3 hours. So if you go over the first 2 hours and you go in and completely do another third hour, that's the first time that you're going to get paid. And it has to go up to a whole nother hour before you'll get paid after that. So the detention on that, it's not very good at all. But like he said, the main goal is to be doing drop-in hooks, and most of the over-the-road stuff is drop-in hooks, which is great. You can run in, drop a trailer, grab another one, get your paperwork and get out of there. It definitely saves you a bunch of time to do drop-in hooks. However, you're not getting paid for your time to do a drop-in hook. It's simply the cents per mile, which varies depending on how long of a trip that you have. I do not like that they do not have any sort of drop-in hook pay. It should be $10, $15, something like that. If their detention is $14 an hour, it should be comparable to that. Should take you about a half hour to do all that, and then you'll be on the road. So it's a little disappointing that they don't have any drop and hook pay. So the next thing we need to figure out is if the amount that you're making in the cents per mile and the amount that you're making on your mileage is going to match up to what they say that you're going to make per week before taxes. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So they were saying that you're going to make about 2,200 miles a week. And let's just multiply that by the low end of the 47 cents per mile. Oh, a little too hard there. 47 cents per mile. You're at $1,034 a week, and they were saying it was $1,100 a week before taxes. So that's actually pretty close to being right on cue there. So they weren't being dishonest with that, which is good to know. And of course, if you do more miles than the 2,200 or less miles, it'll vary that a little bit. And the more experience or the longer trip or whatever, that's going to get you a little bit different number there too. So after talking to the recruiter and doing some of the math to break down what he was talking about, I'm still at about a C plus, maybe creeping into a B a little bit, but we still need more information. So stay tuned for part 3, where we're going to go ahead and call a driver that's currently working for Knight and see what his experience has been working for them, to find out for sure from firsthand experience whether it's a good company to go to work for or not. How difficult is it to achieve that bonus?
It depends on how aggressive of a driver you are. The recent month or the last month, I didn't get it.